anybody can resonate with a wedgie, it's this group right here. Corrie, it is a podcast, and I am leaving that part in. The wedger, the wedge. If you have a wedgie, listen to this podcast. Okay. Corrie, it is Tuesday. It is slightly rainy here, but apparently where Corrie lives had the worst thunderstorm in the history of ever, she said.
I thought it was the end of times.
Corrie said she was frightened. Frightened.
I dare I have not used that in my adult life, that I've been frightened, but I was frightened. It was as if the sky opened up right above our house. And I was a fright.
It's episode 260 of the podcast, and we're going to be talking about a topic Corrie has been doing some ground zero research on, bartering.
It's been around for a bajillion years. I've done it over the years. I've more recently purposed in my frightened heart to put myself out to do it more so that I could talk about it and see if I like it or not, because you ain't never know if you like something unless you try it.
We'll talk about it. Corrie, I also polled you guys and said, what did you guys barter for? And your answers were interesting. But before we get into that, because Corrie's biting at the bit, I can tell. Biting at the bartering bit. Maybe that's what I should name it. Of course,
that's going to be what it is. It's biting at the bartering bit.
Focus on me. So we're the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group. All of the stuff we talk about on this podcast or reference, you can find at sugarcookiemarketing.com. I update that website constantly. Corrie has no idea. I'm constantly adding, tweaking, moving, updating, because I want you guys to know what's on the cutting edge of the cookie cutter industry.
She's moving things on the website, picking wedges in real life. She's always moving.
Digital wedgies and real wedgies, and they're both being removed.
They're all being picked.
Picked up, picked over. What's coming? We have the community groups boot camp. If you guys didn't listen last week, I had a large bout of food poisoning. I think it was a parasite, said TikTok, my doctor. But who knows? It's coming from water on vegetables that maybe you didn't wash all the way, or I'm lactose intolerant, or I just had the stomach lining said that's enough Diet Coke for one day.
For one lifetime.
The community groups boot camp is this Thursday and Friday. It sounds fun. It sounds easy. It's probably actually one of the most time-intensive, effort-intensive boot camps, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We also have the Pipe Your Hobby Cookie Collab. I know there's a date discrepancy somewhere, but it's already booked out, right? So where that date discrepancy is, it is July 17th, not June 17th. Sorry about that, guys.
We can't go back in time.
Maybe we'll do it June 17th, 2027. We just don't know. And then Corrie's working on the next class kit, which is lemon themed. And I saw a preview of it and I thought it was cutie patootie.
Yeah, cutie patootie. And then the next one after that, love bug. You'll never guess, ladybugs.
Ladybirds. I thought when I moved into the house, there was an insurgence of ladybugs and they were not very cute for some reason. And they were like, no, it's an Asian lady beetle. And I was like, oh,
lady beetle. That's like a cute government name.
But they were like, yeah, they're not ladybugs. Ladybugs are cute. You have the ugly ones.
Oh, no. Do you remember?
Yes.
Dare I take
Loudon. It was a hotel.
There was.
We had to.
A hotel room.
The ladybugs had taken over this hotel room in a way I can't describe. There were so many of them.
A bajillion ladybugs. Literally everywhere. And ladybugs, I don't know. They do make me happy when I see them, but I do think they pee on you if you touch them. Is that correct?
Honestly, branding. I'll tell you what. You know what? Butterflies, ugly worms that got good branding, good marketing. Yeah. Ladybugs, call it the Asian lady beetle.
Let me tell you. Anything that's circular, anything with circles on it, instantly cute.
Lightning bugs, great branding. Lightning.
Oh, I was even delighted to see their butts light up. And I even asked Siri while I was on my walk, why are they lighting up? And it's either to mate or to ward off prey.
Unfortunately, living here in the sticks, just maybe the temperature of the headlights of the Acura I have in combination with dusk and a lightning bug, it makes them just a sea of lightning boobs. They're just butts are lit. And I'm plowing through these dudes.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, their butt paste stays lit even after death. For about a couple seconds.
What is in their butts? Speaking of wedgies, that makes it glow. What is glowing in their buns?
Whatever it is, it's really hard to wash off. Let me tell you that, especially after a few bakes in the 90-degree weather. My quote for today is, I switched it up on Corey. I actually read her a different one and I switched it while she wasn't looking. For barter to work, two individuals do not need to offer things of equal value. Trade is often unequal, but still benefits both sides, which is actually what most of this comes down to. Thank you, Matt Ridley, for that exception.
Matt is insightful and he is correct.
So to lay the groundwork on the bartering, what was it? Biting at the bit for bartering?
Biting at
Podcast.
the bit for bartering and wedgies.
Corey, unlike me, we couldn't really think of an instance where I bartered, but Corey has all these instances where she traded skills of some sort for skills of somebody else. She bartered with Sephora for a corporate order. She, in exchange, she got a bunch of Sephora product, which is funny. You guys, and we'll talk about that. You guys are working at your costs. What does it cost me to produce this, and what am I getting? Sephora is not saying what profit did I lose here. They're saying what did this cost us to acquire in exchange, right? So
Yeah.
it's this whole sub pricing exchange.
Yeah. What the great thing about bartering is you're not priced for a profit. You're actually priced for an exchange. And that can actually benefit both parties because you have to do less. There's no, you got to keep the overhead lights on. It's literally labor and cost of ingredients. And is that worth it to somebody else to want what you're able to exchange there?
The reason is we price for a profit so we can take the profits and go buy the Sephora stuff, right? So
Yeah.
when you're not needing to buy Sephora, we're exchanging. We don't have to necessarily price for profit. We exchange for whatever the desire is, right? So Corey has Sephora. She has recently tested graphic design exchanges because apparently I did drag my wedgied butt
You did.
for that little cookie card. Although I did get roped into this for zero profit on my end, but she had exchanged somebody to do the backside of the card, and then I was forced to do the front side.
I've done
Social audit.
photography.
Oh yeah, photography, and you're really, really happy with that exchange. She did
I
a
really,
photo shoot of her and her son.
probably 4 or 5 years ago
Here's
now.
what I say. Could I have taken those photos? Yeah. Would Archer have acted like he did with a stranger? No, he'd have like more like whatever you need. Yes. But with me, it'd be like Aunt Head.
Yeah. And there's underlying things like Heather likes my cookies, but she's never screaming me out always in groups.
I'm so sorry. I'm exclusively screaming you out in groups. Here's the thing. I don't personally, and you guys can do it differently. I don't like that covert, like where you talk about like,
No,
oh,
let
look
me
at
give an
my,
example.
okay.
Someone wants cookies, and I'll be in the comment section. This is what Heather's referring to, and I kind of agree with Heather on this. Oh, you should try Mixing Bowl Cookie Company. I hear cookies are great.
When
As
Corey's
if
Mixing
I'm
Bowl
not
Cookie Company. And I'm like,
that
like
person.
I'm so sorry. I know maybe they like I call it astroturfing. And somebody asked me yesterday, what do you mean by astroturfing? Grassroots is where you hit the pavement and your
Yeah.
grassroots campaign. I'm dredging up business. It's more for like ecological stuff. But in this term, astroturfing is pretending to do that when in reality it's all manufactured. So Corey being like, I hear Mixing Bowl Cookie Company is a great business when she is Mixing Bowl Cookie Company is disingenuous in my eyes.
Well, it's slightly deceiving. And I like to end those with, in her hair, she's really pretty too.
What a
Thank you.
hot exotic. Also, she has great hair. You should see her skin. Whoa. So what I do, because I even feel disingenuous to be like, you should use Mixing Bowl Cookie Company. I hear they're really good. Like I'm clearly, literally at a
Bias.
hotel in bed with.
Yeah.
So I'll say, oh hey, my twin sister actually does this, and I think she could nail this set. Now, what people are doing when they try to be that, like we're so off topic. I should just
Okay. Yeah, we're way too off. That's
social audit. Corey's been bartering for a social audit. That one's active. For some reason, I'm also doing free labor for this, and not sure why.
Okay. And that also happens that it's good to set up the parameters beforehand.
We're
And
gonna get
we'll
into
get to
that.
that.
We're gonna go. We're fighting at the barter bit. And then one time we were bartering with a client, a web client, and she did permanent makeup, and I fortunately dodged a bullet. If you did permanent makeup, are you happy with it? Because I see so many people trying to get it removed, and I know there's difference between microblading and the other one.
Feather stroke and
Powder
like
brow,
tattoos.
the
Yeah,
tattoo.
something
I
like
don't know.
that.
It just looks like everyone's in line to get it removed, and apparently it's very painful.
Well, that
So,
it brings us into the what it's not necessarily dollar for dollar. So what that one client wanted us to do was create a website and she would tattoo our eyebrows. We didn't see the value behind getting our eyebrows tattooed, so it wasn't a good barter. But bartering is alive and well and has been for years upon years upon years. And if you have not opened your mind to bartering, I want to talk about the benefits, the pros, and there are some cons when it comes to it. The pros definitely outweigh the cons, but you can actually set yourself up for success by making sure you set up your bartering self
You
in
are
the right way.
you're literally going to learn from Corey's bartering mistakes. Let me tell you about it because that's what we talked about for the last hour. Starting with point number one, how to get into bartering. It's easier than you think. Number one, simple one, make a post saying you're open to bartering. I see this one do really well for the people that are into bartering. They'll go to their Facebook page and they'll be like, just so you know, I'm open to bartering. Here are some things I'd like to barter.
That I want to do that asterisk right there.
I like
If
the
you
that
that if
that
you like that, you can
I
steal it.
like that. YouTube
That
only. YouTube
yeah,
only.
YouTube
Do
only.
hand signatures.
What you don't want to do. And the great thing about bartering is setting yourself up for success starts with this very first part of it. When you say you're open to bartering and you do not, you're not specific with what you're looking for, everyone's going to come knocking. You might have someone said, well, I do sublimation on tumblers. You might have 52 tumblers. You don't need another tumbler. And now
I'm
you've
so sorry.
created
What did
yourself
you say? Sublimate. That was way
sublimation
you. I'm so sorry.
on
To give you some
tumblers.
backstory, Corey found the underbelly of Tumblr world and got really
Yes.
knee deep into it. So
Yeah, I
sublimation on
did.
tumblers is custom tumblers.
Yeah, custom tumblers. Here's the thing. Now you've set yourself up for an awkward conversation because you might not find the value in it. You already have 52 of them. So when you go to create this first post, in a great place to do it is on your social media accounts. Specifically, if you don't have like collect everyone as your friend, you might do it on your business page where you would actually do the exchange of cookies. Be specific about what you're looking for. Hey guys, my lawn is out of control. I'm looking to barter lawn care services for cookies and cakes.
I like that one. Another one, and I thought this was pretty interesting, and this is where Corey is doing her research, is a local person started a bartering group on Facebook, which means you can also start one as well. Of course, the side clause of that is you're the admin, but you're also the boss.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to tell you, I was group member numero 7. So
Corey
I
was
was,
group member seven, and Corey said to me, listen, I'm not big into bartering, but I want to test a theory that if I can be the first to barter with the admin, when it comes time that somebody's looking for a cookie decorator, she'll recommend me. But I'm like, but then you're going to be in bartering hell. I don't know. She's running the test. How
I'm in
many
the
people are in
test
the
now.
group now?
Cookies are behind me. There's about 200 some odd now. Here's the great thing. Being group member number 7, I've been seeing the struggle of her growing this group. It's difficult to start a group from nothing and turn it into something. So when
Amen.
I saw the admin looking for an exchange of custom cookies, I said, this is my chance to one, get on the admin's good side, but two, also help the group because right now no bartering has taken place. At least no one has posted about it.
So
I've
Corey
already
is
done one.
using her own time, and I'm going to interrupt you because I want you to add kind of this
Sure.
to the next point because I think there is the mirror where you are member number 7. You have been the first to barter, and now we're going to see what the results are. So the test isn't complete yet. In fact, it's almost complete. When it completes, we need you to come back and give us an update.
I will give you an update.
So she joined this bartering Facebook group where she's running this test. And then also join any community group that's hyper local and write in there you're willing to barter. But again, the specifics, because if you don't get specific, you're going to find yourself at point three, which is a cons. And
Yeah.
Corey's going to give you her own baptism by fire on those. So getting
Absolutely.
into bartering, super easy. Bartering predates every monetary exchange ever in the history of the world. I had to Google that. So bartering is intrinsic to human nature. It is not weird, but it's very an interesting thing because we take away cost and price and we replace it with perceived value. So Corey could have bartered for graphic design, but to me, I would never barter for graphic design. It has very low value to me. I could probably do it myself. Well, Corey said, well, I tried to get you to do it and you didn't. So now it has a high value to her. She can't get her twin to do anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the wild world of bartering is this song and dance because you don't want to undervalue the person who wants to barter with you, but also the value is different for each person that they come into. If I had any knowledge about graphic design, that means the value of a graphic designer is less to me because I understand graphic design. If I wanted to go and mow my own lawn, there is less value into the lawn care person, but it comes down to an exchange of what value is. You have a lot of people who don't want to make custom cookies, but they want custom cookies. There's value there. And the exchange of value is where you get into this, and it almost feels like a car salesman's room.
Which I
You're
think is the most
in,
interesting one because car sales is bartering meets monetary value. We know, and CarMax is the one who appended this, but CarMax is also struggling. We know that the car salesman knows what the bottom line number is, but
Mhm.
he's hoping that he's got to make his percentage, his commission. He's hoping that your perceived value is higher than what their cost is, and he's there to try to
Absolutely.
convince you of that.
Yeah, and that's why you go on the test drive. He says, "Look, you have leather seats, you have, dual air control system, you have heated seats." That's them trying to sell you on the value versus trying to sell you on the price.
I
The
find that
price,
most car salesmen go into the negative, like this is the only one, this one will be sold out from under you. Either way, to kind of apply that pressure that the perceived value is higher than what your offer is. So
yeah,
with bartering, we removed the bottom line number completely, and now we're just in a house of cards, a
a house of cards. But
house of
Heather,
perceived value.
did you write down the list I gave you of what people have bartered? So we asked it in the sugar cookie marketing group. Have you ever bartered your bakes for something? And so many people barter that I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. There, it opened my eyes to what you could actually barter. And here's a few from the list.
If you're new to bartering, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, maybe this is up my alley. It's also such an interesting way because perceived value for landscaping in the summer is much higher than perceived value for landscaping after a snowstorm,
Yeah.
right? So it
Yeah.
is ever changing landscape where there's no solid numbers. It's always shifting. Car detailing, snow plowing, website development, photography, dental work. That's a good one. Botox, sign me up. Haircuts, absolutely. Childcare, good for you guys. Taylor Swift airs tour tickets. Insane.
Crazy.
An
Crazy.
oil change. Yes.
Great one.
Tattoos. Brick
Saw it. And she even
mailbox.
posts.
A brick
Go
mailbox.
ahead.
A brick
Oh, a
mailbox.
mailbox. She said she got a full brick mailbox and traded a $1,600 cake credit for it.
So a future credit. Now she's out $1,600 at a future date, but she's not out $1,600. She's out the cost that would have resulted in a $1,600 sale. Something to consider when you think of the math.
Yeah.
And then oddly, a kayak.
A kayak was on there. The world of bartering comes down to what you want versus what they're willing to trade it for. And that's what's so cool about bartering. Because Heather said, yeah, lawn care is it's high value in the summer, low value in the winter, but it's what you value it as and what they value your thing as. So the song and dance is weird. It feels like you are in a car sales cubicle and someone's saying, "What are you willing to pay?" And then you're saying, "Well, what are you willing to make?" And
Yeah.
that was weird. That's always been weird over the years that I've done bartering. That is the oddest part of it
We're
because
going to
you don't,
get to that part, but let's talk about the benefits first. Because I know
yeah.
you're kind of, and Corey's gotten bartering burned many times, but she's still pro bartering. So it must have a bigger payout. But she starts with someone gets to try your cookies that may not have normally ordered. And I think these two people you're currently in a barter with would never have ordered from you before.
I don't think custom cookies was necessarily on their radar of things. Obviously, they asked for it. They asked for someone to make custom sweets, and I just happened to raise my hand and say I do custom cookies. But what I've done is getting two new people that aren't in my client base to try my cookies and potentially become lifelong fans of them.
And they can also become referral sources. So, in terms of bartering, and Corey said this is what happened. She's like, bartered with the group admin, and then the group admin saw a post where somebody was asking to barter for bakers, and Corey was tagged. So they become a referral source. Now there's the double-edged sword. If you're not into bartering, then now you have a bartering referral source, and they're going to tag you in bartering stuff. But if you're open to that, awesome, because now you're reaching this whole new demographic of people who wouldn't have opened their wallets, but they'll open their exchanges.
Yeah, listen, a tag is a tag, whether it be barter or not. That she even thought of me when someone was asking about custom cookies. I want to be in rooms that I'm not in. So when someone thinks of me, when someone thinks of custom desserts, that is a pro that I'll be always for. If you tag me and I'm not around you, that my marketing has done what my marketing needed to do. You're tagging me.
In another life, I used to sell reviews back when it was more kosher, right? Now these AI filters can kind of see when the review isn't legitimate.
Yeah.
So they base that off of location and engagement, right? All these things behind the scenes. Corrie has asked these two people she's bartered with. She's like, and I think Corey's like, I'm not sure that the value is there in the exchange, but the review would make it more valuable. So she
Hmm.
has asked these people, hey, thank you so much if you like what you got. In the world of perceived value, a good review goes a long way, especially from somebody local where you can click on their Google review profile and it
Yeah.
says this person's in Manassas reviewing Manassas businesses.
Oh, if I'm bartering, I'm squeezing every single drop out of that turnip. You best believe from start to finish, I'm going to get the most I can out of the barter.
So I like that one. Even see, you can see a more cohesive look. Well, I might have lost on the cookies, which I think Corey's saying. I might have lost on these cookies, and she's learned a lesson here. She said, but I'm going to get it back with this review.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a review is a review. If you've tried my cookies, if you've been able to experience me in any form of business, that review is going to work for me years and years down the road.
Yeah, it really does convince new people to order from you. I know we mentioned this at the beginning. It works off of perceived cost, not price. So there's a lot more flexibility here in that whole convincing someone of the value of this should garner more of the return. In reality, you go to Sephora and the lipstick is an ungodly $30. It's
Yeah.
$30 whether or not you want to pay it. In the world of bartering, it was priced at $30, but in exchange for six cookies, it's now free, technically, right? It's the exchange of these cookies. Well, Corey's cost of six cookies is 78 divided by two, but no, she's not working off of profit anymore. She's working off of her cost and her desire to fill in this gap in her lipstick collection.
Yeah, yeah. So it comes down to it's not dollar for dollar, it's value for value. What do you value your thing at, and what do I value my thing at? And can they come together in the same room where we both feel like it is a fair enough trade?
I'll tell you, if you're a baker with an oven that needs repair, your perceived value is much higher than me who's turned on this oven once.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's all
Yeah.
relative, right? So there's a little bit more elbow room here to either get more of what you want or get something different. Somebody else is willing to play ball. You could really get, like we already said, Botox is expensive here. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to get Botox for my surprise at hearing the cost of Botox.
Yeah. Another pro is the person that you barter with can turn into a paying client down the road. The great thing is they're trying your cookies out for the first time, and if they love them, the odds that they'll come back to you in the future are rather high. I find that in this very fast-paced world, people don't want to learn new people. They want to have the comfort of things they've already tried. So if you,
Familiarity
oh,
is so comforting. Even the thought,
yeah,
like there's one restaurant that I like, but the thought, and I'm like, oh, you should try out new places. But I'm like, but I know the parking spot and I know the waiter's name and I have my seat. I
the
don't want to go to a new
rapport.
place. Yeah.
Rapport goes a long way.
I'm
I
guaranteed to
traded
get what I want from this
Yes, I
guy.
traded photography years ago for cookies. And that lady and me have followed each other on social media for all these years. Granted, we've moved farther away now. She doesn't live quite as close, but when we lived closer, she was tagging me after all these times. She never bought one cookie from me. She's only ever traded and bartered, but she turned into a referral source over the years that was fantastic. And it's because the familiarity, she tried my cookies, she didn't buy them. But she's just as much as can tag me as someone who's tried my cookies as she can the next person, even though we didn't exchange any money.
The psychology of it, right? Okay, if I go and buy something from you, I do not feel inclined that I have to sing your praises, right? Because
Yeah,
I paid for this.
yeah,
But if somebody gifts something to me, I feel extremely inclined to sing your praises because I'm now biased, which is why we don't allow sales for affiliate links in the group. Because when you're biased, you're no longer unbiased, right? When you profit, there's no longer a clean line of, well, I wouldn't buy this if I were you, or I would, right?
Yeah. The
But
great thing about her, they're not getting kickbacks. I'm not saying like if you mention me, you're getting $5 off your next order. So
but
it
the
is
but back to my
organic.
point, let me just finish it, is that you guys exchanged something, but in a way, she thought it was more valuable to her than what you perceived giving it up was. So in a way, she's got this like she almost I feel like I got something for more than I should have. That's how that bartering thing works.
Yeah. I've tagged when someone needs photography because I loved my photos so much. I've tagged her over the years because she really specializes in like, I don't know, family photography, I think is what her specialty is if you had it on paper. So I think it has behooved us. And the great thing about bartering is you're dealing a lot with other business owners who get the insane path of business ownership and know the struggle that each business owner runs into, whether it be getting new leads, cultivating a review, getting more referrals, having your name mentioned in group posts that they might not be in. That's another boon for it. When it's a business owner to business owner, I feel so much more comfortable because I'm like, they kind of understand it. They are in the same struggle bus as I am trying to win at these algorithms and getting these leads.
I agree. Your last point was it's flexible in terms of I feel like I'm getting more for less than it cost me, right? Again, the transaction, the exchange is made when Corey feels like she's getting more than she's outputting, and the person receiving is getting more than they're outputting because it's a perception of value.
Yeah.
If we added a dollar amount to this, it quickly cleans up where those messy lines are.
Yeah.
Because Corey's like, well, I'm at 78 and your audits are, 50. So there's a discrepancy here of, $28 or whatever. So now Corey's like, well, I mean, like, here's what I know the cookies cost me, but I really want somebody to plow my lawn, my snow
Yeah.
plow, Snow Creek,
Yeah.
whatever that exchange was, they needed to charge more, right? Whatever it is. There's more flexibility to feel like you got more than you should have. And for the receiving party to do the same, because that's the only way it works.
Oh, that's when you both feel like you got more than you should have. That's where you both literally win. And with the photography one, can Heather take my photo for free? Absolutely. But my son isn't going to listen to Heather because it's Aunt Head and
We
she's
said that
always
there was
goofy.
there was a benefit that Archer wouldn't. When I'm like stand up and smile, he's gonna be like no.
Yeah.
But with the stranger, he's gonna feel obligated to, and he
Yeah. So
did. And
the photos looked a little bit more better. He's not making a goofy face at Heather. Heather could always take the photos for free, but I was able to one, meet a new business owner.
the free
Two,
hired help right over here.
yeah, two, I was able to get the recommendations of her over the years. And three, I really liked the photos I got of me and my son together. So in that realm, I felt like it was a fair trade. And that's the wonderful part about bartering is that you can feel like, wow, I really got something out of this. I squeezed everything out of this. And then there's the cons of it.
Which brings us to the cons of it. Thank you for that nice segue.
You're welcome.
Be specific about you want. I'm so sorry. No, that's your bartering tips. It is not every barter is a win.
Not every barter is going to be a win. Here's the thing. You'll see someone make a post and they're like, hey, I'm willing to barter. Here's what I do. So most recently, and I'm not saying this isn't a win, graphic design is it's like a moving line. If are you a good graphic designer? Are you a bad graphic designer? With the
There's a lot of rules in graphic design, and I'm
Yeah,
not a rule. I don't, the rules of like pixel and spacing and that's like that. But then there's like vibes graphic design, and now there's AI graphic design and Canva graphic design. So it is
it
wow. So
is.
Corey got this lady to barter a set of cookies, and she, I can feel like you're not thinking that the exchange was right in exchange for this cookie care card that I refuse to obviously do. So Corey says to me, what files do I need from her? And I was like, EPS, AI, PNG, PDF, JPEG, just the ones you go through, right?
Mhm.
And the lady sent back two PNGs. They're identical, just so you know. You're saying one's a shade. There's no shade difference in either of those. There's no other files. It's not editable. It's compressed. It's PNG, but it's small. I don't believe the lady's by trade a graphic designer.
Right.
Now, did she fulfill a need for you much
She
faster than I
did.
did?
She did. She did. So that's where it comes. That's where the world of bartering feels a little different. With something that's physical for something physical, it's a little bit easier to see the value traded. If I got a painting done of my dog and I gave you a dozen cookies, we're able to physically hold the value in our hands. I love my dog, the value is there. When it comes to digital versus physical, that's where we enter this weird world of, did I get the value I wanted? I was I was a little worried that maybe the graphic designer would have gone to AI, because AI, it's in its boon right now. Everyone has discovered it. It's really a lot out there. I was worried that I was going to spend 8 hours on these cookies and then I was going to get something that I could have typed a prompt into AI and gotten myself. That is the gamble you take when you're entering this world. Now, here's the thing. If she sent me something AI and I'm like, I totally hate it, I'm going to hold your cookies hostage, I've created a weird situation for me and my business and for her.
Yeah.
That's what we don't want to do, because that is also, you open yourself up to negativity in your business when you go through the world of bartering. Just like when you sell cookies to someone, someone might not have a great experience with you. They might not like what you made.
And
So
we'll
I
talk
did,
about some of the safeguards in here that
yeah,
is learn to kind of protect yourself. But back with the cons, you lose a lot of the protections that monetary institutions provide. Like if Corey, if I ordered cookies from her and I never get the cookies, I can go to Visa or
yeah,
Navy Federal, file a chargeback. Same with PayPal, you send it goods and services. Anything where there's an exchange of money and it's not cash and you're exchanging it the correct way has a protection that bartering does not. Now, yes, Corey can withhold the cookies and the lady can withhold the PDF, AI, EPS, all the files needed that she ended up technically withholding. That's the issue of that is there's no protection. So had the file been AI generated and Corey been like, I don't like that, and the lady's like, well, this is all I know how to do, we've got a problem on our hands. So we've
yeah.
we've opened ourselves up to bad reviews.
And bad juju between me and now another local person that could have been the best boon for my business, but then they could be the arch nemesis for my business.
Hmm.
And that is something that you open yourself up to. Did I like the file that she created? Yes, I like that she did not end up using AI. She didn't have all the file types that I needed. She had the one that I needed to make it work. So I was totally fine. I never brought up like, where's all these extra file types? She did what I wanted. I was able to make the exchange, and it will help my business in the long run. And she'll help my business in the long run. That's what I'm
And
taking out of that.
and
What?
you made Heather
I made Heather design the other side of the file
for
for
free.
free for
So
dragging her
imagine
buns.
if you didn't have a Heather, you got
Yeah.
only 50% of the deliverable. Okay. Uh, Bartering is just awkward because you're essentially saying someone you what you feel is valuable is not meeting my perception of value. So let's see what else it can do, sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to say with the photographer, that was an awkward situation because she wanted to be like, well, I think your cookies are worth 5 edited photos. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I think they're worth 6. I didn't say, no, I think they're worth 6. If I had one good one of my son actually making a smile that wasn't goofy, it was going to be a win in my book. But you do have this awkward song and dance of what you find passion in life, the thing that you've called your career, your job. I don't see it as valuable as what I've called my career and job. And you get into this weird bartering system. That's what bartering is. It is weird. And some people barter all the time. They're really good at it. Some
It's
people, this is their first time. And then you might take offense when someone's like, nah, I don't think I see it.
my grandmother lives on the street with somebody whose culture is bartering, and her name is Jeji. And it's just, it is her second nature to be like, there's your price, and here's where, and her culture says, because everything's overpriced with the intention of bartering. My cousin is a hobby auto detailer.
Yeah.
And she and him, he doesn't, he is, has so much anxiety, he cannot stand bartering. He has
Yeah.
anxiety in general, and bartering adds to that. So she was like, can you detail my car? And he's like, it'll be $300. And she's like, what about 250? But he's like, but I priced it fairly. But she's doing, so some people are just great at bartering. They're just
Yeah.
great. They don't have the anxiety, they don't feel awkward. They're not undervaluing you. They're just trying to find your bottom line.
I th If you're thinking about bartering, you have to separate your self value from the cookies or cakes that you create. Someone can look at a cake and not value it as much. It does not mean you as a person are less valuable. And if you cannot separate yourself from that, bartering is not for you.
What I thought Corey said was interesting is, she's explaining this bartering. She hired someone to do a social media audit to see what that was like. And Corey's like, well, I felt like, I was like, well, what's the exchange? And was it 2 dozen or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that sounds like you lost. And Corey's like, well, no, we went with a really more simplistic design. So that within the ball field, there's more ways to play ball than you even imagine.
Yeah, so with this flyer, the great thing was she needed these cookies last minute. So I knew that time and effort was on my side. So she said, "Hey, here's what I'm looking for," and had just a picture of generic 4th of July cookies. I said, "Yeah, using your inspiration photo, I can create a dozen cookies for you for this flyer." She said, "Well, the party I'm going to, we need at least 24 cookies." I said, "I can't do 24. What I'm willing to do is 18, but I'm going to decide the designs." She says, "Is there any way I can do custom designs in this order?" I said, "With the turnaround time you're looking at, unfortunately, we can't. But if you can say, like, of that inspiration photo, ones you would really like to see in there, I can make that happen." So, do you see where it was a back and forth thing? I could have gotten offended, like, "How dare you? I thought you're only worth a dozen cookies." It's all up for negotiation. It's car sales 101 is what you're willing to offer, what I'm willing to give. And if we can come together in some sort of agreement, this back and forth thing, it makes the bartering work.
Okay, I just want a yes or no. I don't want an explanation. Do you think that you won or received of equal value in the cookie care card?
Yes,
Ah, the social media audit.
not quite yet.
Sephora.
Yes,
The photography lady, we can all hear that it's a yes. Actually, I almost
yes.
think you think she lost.
Yeah, I felt like she lost because I like the photo so much.
And then the permanent makeup one, we obviously didn't do. So, yes, that was a win. No offense to people with the permanent eyebrows. I just know myself
And
that
that was fair. And you said, "I just don't see the value for it." And that's why she didn't get offended when you said, "I don't think that's a fair
you
trade."
see that cash money is really hard. Bartering tips. Now, this is where Corey has learned trial by fire, so you don't have to.
Yeah. I had not stretched my bartering legs in quite some time. And this past 2 weeks has shown me I've gone about it the wrong way.
Well, Corey said, I haven't said I don't think you should do this. And Corey's like, it's not, I'm doing it for the podcast only. I'm doing it to be able to report back that this bartering world is actually a big component of business ownership. And it's an enigma of sorts. So she says, number one, be so specific with what you want. The worst thing they can say is no, and you're out nothing. So what happened was Corey's like, yeah, I'll do a dozen. And the lady comes back, well, like, what about 2 dozen? Well, she doesn't
Yeah.
know the time it
No.
takes in the turnaround. It's a cookie to her, it's an edible, right? But to Corey, like, Corey's like, well, that's a lot of time. And then you weren't specific on, I need the front and back of this thing. Here's my color palette. Here's the hex codes. You didn't do that.
Yeah.
At one point, you're like, she wants the graphic design, the logo file. I'm like, oh, you didn't even give it to her. Like, she's having to ask you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So what I've learned is you need to be specific in your wants and in your needs and in what you're willing to give because they do not know. Just like your clients who are like, "Wow, all that for just a cookie." People do not understand what goes into making these cookies. Only you do. And if you keep that under lock and key and the biggest secret, all they have to go off of is, "Well, I would like 24 of them." They seem easy enough to eat. I'm sure they're easy enough to make. It is on you to protect your business and to protect your barter so that you don't feel like you've gotten taken advantage of in your bartering system. With this social media audit, one thing, did I need a social media audit? Technically, no. I know what I need to do in social media. What I wanted to do was to get expert eyes that were not me to look in on it and tell me, "Hey, here's things I would recommend. Here's things I wouldn't recommend." And the best part is she's the admin of the group. So
That was
she
really
understands.
Corey's goal was this is the admin of the group services that I don't necessarily need, but I think it's a strategic exchange for me.
Yeah. The problem was her original ask was for Father's Day cookies, to which I agreed to. And unfortunately, from that, it's changed to, okay, I don't need Father's Day anymore. I ordered a gift. I'm having now a combined birthday for my son and my brother. Okay, the original thing was worth it to me. Father's Day, 2 or 4 cookies in exchange for a social media audit. Now it's ballooned way bigger than what I wanted it to. And here's the con of it. She's also the admin of the group. So what am I going to say? No, I'm not going to do it to you. I need to say that, but I didn't say that. I didn't set the expectations beforehand. So I feel a little bit like, gun to my head, I've got to have to make these cookies, even though I don't feel like the value I'm going to get from them is worth it. And you could tell while I was making these cookies, they're drying behind me, my heart was not into it. So I did not like it.
The
I did
puff a
not
little
enjoy
less
it.
puffy.
A little less puff. There's not joy baked
So
into the
would you
ingredient list.
recommend a terms and services of bartering?
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to on your own, set your prerequisites for it. If you wanted lawn care, then you need to be like, okay, for the price of 2 dozen cookies for a lawn care set, I need someone to come out 3 times in the month of July. If they only want 1 dozen, I need them to come out twice in the month of July. If you can set that up beforehand, when someone comes and presents to you their side of the barter, you can say that fits what I need, where that doesn't fit what I'm looking for right now. That's not a good partnership right there.
At
When you're
any
in a
point, did you tell them your cost per dozen, your price per dozen?
they have all checked out my website so they knew what the cost per dozen was. It
Assuming they
it
read it.
they did. I
Assuming they
know for a
did.
fact they did.
They did?
They did read the cost of a dozen,
Okay.
and that is on me. That is 100% on me to not guide her on my end of the barter. So right now, do I feel like she's getting more bang for the buck? Absolutely, because it took me a whole day to make these cookies and it wasn't what I originally agreed to. I'm glad to be on the other side of it. So now it's her. She has to prove to me that what she's doing, this social media audit, is going to be worth its weight in gold to me. If we come out of it and I don't find the benefit of that, and she doesn't find the benefit of hers, which I think she will because she's getting more cookies than we originally talked about, we'll just not do bartering again. I'll just go off into the bush. She'll never hear me. My goal though was she's also an admin of a group. She understands how groups work, how groups grow, tagging people that, it boons her to tag me in her trades group and into other groups because we've created a relationship.
I gotta say, you guys gotta compliment Corey because a lot of the stuff she does, she'll say, I know I'm at a loss here, but I'm doing it for the podcast.
Yeah, yes. We'll never get the time back. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's going to be great. I am getting the cookie care card created, and it's better than what I had, which was a generic one I printed off online because Heather wanted to get her bun of and make them. So I have a new relationship. I have a new cookie care card. Vistaprint sending them in the mail. I'll show you when they get here. Heather did design the back on me for not asking, will you have a front and back design? I didn't even think about that. I just assumed I'd get a front and a back. My bad. I did not know.
So it really comes down to really setting expectations on both sides. Like Corey's second tip here, you're in control. You're the one who decides what you do and don't want to do. Now, when the lady came back and said, I want to actually quadruple my order. If you were initially at 6 and now you're at 24,
Mhm.
Corey would say, hey, how can we quadruple my value? And that would have been like, I know playing ball does take a certain like level of comfort. It would have been like, oh, cool. Here's what else I'll need from you then. Like, can we audit something else or what else? What are
Yeah.
your options? And the more you feel comfortable with that, it's time in. The more people will be like, oh, she's comfortable with playing ball here. Well, how about this? And then Corey would have been like, hey, no to the 2 dozen. The 1 dozen, but we can change up the theme.
Yeah. And that it really takes someone who is well versed at separating themselves and their value from the value of things. For it takes two people who are good at bartering to realize that the worth of something is different for each person that they come in contact with. I have a small yard. Yard work is easier for me than it is for Heather. Heather has a larger yard. It is more valuable to her. But bartering is a fantastic way to meet people in the community you would not have met before, to get something for something you would have made. Like I give cookies away free all the time and never get anything back, maybe a pat on the back and thanks so much. But to get something physical, like now I have a cookie care card, I have photos that are on my wall, I have skincare, I look younger. Those are great ways that I can get something for something that I was already going to do. And I save the Virginia state sales tax. I'm no longer having been charged for profit because we're doing this trading which makes the world go round. So I'm
Well,
definitely pro bartering.
don't let our accountant know
No,
that.
I
I'm
shan't.
sure there's some law. I wonder what the the government's got to get it, right?
Absolutely.
So I wonder what the
Absolutely.
true actual laws around taxation on bartered goods is. I'm sure it's state specific. Another one, the tertiary benefits outweigh the initial risk. You have a new referral source potentially. Err on the side of caution. They could also spread the word that you barter. If you're not big into bartering, then maybe don't join the bartering group. But if you're like, I don't want to make bartering any part of my business except for, I would like to see if somebody would do a brick mailbox. Then I go to my page and I'm like, I'm bartering for this one specific thing. Now, a lot of people who are into bartering will be like, I'm broad-based bartering. Here's the things I'm open to.
Yeah. I think when you're specific with what you want, you won't get everyone knocking at your door, for, oh, I do custom t-shirts. Oh, I do custom tumblers. And you're like, well, I'm looking for a brick mailbox and a kayak. We don't want to open it up for that way. A lot of people feel awkward approaching someone for a barter. And it's because it's weird. You're saying, well, I don't think you're worth the cash money, but I'm willing to exchange it. I find that business owners are a lot more open to bartering than you think because it's alive and well. I was telling my dad about this bartering thing, and he says, well, your aunt and uncle had a flower shop and they were able to barter so much with
They
that
went on
flower
some
shop.
fantastic vacations.
Fantastic vacations. They got memberships to country clubs, got invited to golf outings and things like that. It opened up their world because they were able to see beyond the monetary value of just getting cash. Granted, he said they were audited by the IRS and it was a headache. So you do open yourself up for that. We're more small scale, especially if you're like a one person home baker. We're doing this more on a smaller scale, but it's definitely opening. I think the benefits outweigh the cons, and you can really outweigh your cons when you set yourself up for success by knowing what you're willing to do and what you're willing to do it for, and separating yourself from the fact that maybe someone doesn't see as much value in your cookies for the fact they don't know what goes into them. They see a price tag, they don't know that we sat in the kitchen for 5 hours trying to come up with the perfect colors. So being able to separate yourself from there can really add to your business. And fingers crossed that these people become lifelong referral sources for me. And my investment was fairly low, time and ingredients.
Get those reviews, girl. That'll tip the scale quite a bit, I think.
Yeah. So when the first lady came and picked it up, the review wasn't on the docket. That's a weird thing to be like, hey, Anna, I want a review from you. It's got to be 5 stars. That's a little weird. So when she came to pick up, she gave me a hug and she said, wow, I thought these were so good. They were going to be AI. And I was like, I thought your graphic was so good. It was AI. And she was like, is this a compliment or not? Very nice. And I said, hey, I was actually looking up on social media. I actually couldn't find a Facebook page, but I wanted to leave you a review on there because I've enjoyed this experience so much. She said, I'm actually creating them. I said, well, let me know when you create those because I would love to leave a review. And I would love if you enjoy these cookies that you could leave me a review as well. You'll never guess. She is creating those social media profiles today. It's popping up left and right, following me on social media, which I appreciate. So I felt out of body and I had to get myself in the right mindset to ask for those reviews. But it's going to help me and really squeeze the juice that we can both benefit from this short-term trade long-term.
Uh-huh. So it sounds like you are pro future bartering. You see yourself bartering in the future.
Yeah. And I can say now that I got my sea legs under me that I need to be a little bit more specific. I need to know what I want before I go into that. I just saw them saying that they wanted a sweets baker. And I was like, sure, I can find something that I need graphic design. It's not like my heart went in there. It's like, Corrie, you need a cookie care card. I said, well, she needs something. And I could find something that I need, whether it be a business card, something like that. And I just happened to land on the cookie care card because me and Heather had talked about it 1 week prior on the podcast.
Right. So when you get them, please show them to YouTube only. I don't want anyone else to see them. Just kidding.
No one else
TikTok.
shall see it. But yeah,
That is
no.
bartering. That's a wild world of bartering. And you'll see some bakers that are just, that's all they do. That's what they're here for. They're eat, sleep, breathe bartering. I think of Lacey Q's. She's bartering all the time. I see her in the groups. And then you have bakers who are like, just give me the cash. I like to keep it clean. I like to keep my record straight. I'll take my profit and I'll buy what I need.
Yeah, I want to say when it comes to custom cookies, there's a lot of time in there hovering over colors and things like that. I would barter Eddie printed cookies right and left if I found a business that could do that. That would be a fantastic one because you're only having to pipe one color and you're printing them. Drop cookies, insanely easy to do because you have a recipe that yields X amount of cookies. That's a great one to do. Cake, a little bit easier than royalized decorated cookies
The
because
cake
you're
people said, you transport it without dowels and come back to us and tell us it's easy.
a lot of people were doing barters for cakes in the comments. So I saw that there. I thought
Yeah,
that was great.
it's a great idea. I wonder, it is the heat index in West Virginia and Northern Virginia has been at over 100 degrees. I went on a walk yesterday and it was 75 degrees outside. So I was like, this is perfect walking weather. But you know when you get the sweat mustache?
Yeah.
You know when you do,
Yes.
you lick your lip and you're like, it tastes like the ocean.
Very, very familiar with it.
Disgusting. Your everything is sticking to you. It was 98% humidity. I could have swam back to my car. It would have been easier.
Me and Heather one time went to a like one of those like a Universal Studios of sorts, but we had the sweat mustache, but I don't know, I must have wiped it away like all throughout the day. So I had makeup that was no longer, and I said I look like a little kid who sucks on
That
his
is the
bottle.
Sharpie. Yeah, just this weather is, give me, everyone said the July 5th is the beginning of Halloween, and I couldn't be more into it at this point. It is so tremendously hot outside. Now it's so tremendously soggy and hot outside, even worse.
It's just wet. It's you can cut it with a knife outside.
Bugs are thriving in this weather. I walked out to pick a weed, and just every step, 1,000 bugs flew from my
Oh yeah,
feet.
yeah.
Mm.
They what is up with like these bomber bugs that just aim for the face? Like
I
I was
I
walking
was
here, you can see me. I can see you. You're in my eyeball now. Why are you aiming for my face?
I think my theory, unproven, unscientific, is that the exhale of carbon.
That's what heard read attracts them.
I think it's all they see. I think they're like, whatever that bomb I'm seeing, like if you could only see that, like a heat sensor, but you only see the exhale, you'd be like,
Nothing's more
whatever that is.
offensive than a bug hitting your cheek and bouncing off.
I'm sorry,
There's
a
it's a
bug doing a drive-by of my ear canal. Hate them. Hate it.
Meow, meow,
It's like, dude, there's the whole world for you. I got this one like square foot.
meow.
Moving on here, we have the Cookie College boot camps. The boot camps are 2 to 3 day marketing intensive on a very specific subject. In the past, we've just done like, here's a class on this, here's a class on this. These are intensives, meaning these are hours long. People asked for it, covers everything start to finish. And the one that we're dropping this week is community groups. And I know it sounds like, how do you sell in community groups? Just make a sales post. Like, if it was that easy, we'd all know, we'd all just be selling in community groups and you wouldn't even need to listen to the podcast. So right now, it doesn't matter how many years I've asked this, which is every year we've worked with bakers. What's your number one lead gen source? It's Facebook community groups. So it's such a huge monster, but then the biggest complaint is that those community groups are oversaturated.
Yeah,
How do
yeah,
you
but
crack the community group code? The way
let me
to
tell you,
do
it is crackable, and it can be the best thing for your business once you create, hack the code, and create the cheat sheet in those groups. But there's good ways to go about it, and then there's bad ways to go about it.
And Corey and I are going to teach you the good ways. And the strategy to implement this is exactly 31 days, which happens to be the number of days in August. So we're going to tell you how to do this week in July. You're going to be able to think about it, start getting your concepts, your content buckets together, and then you're going to implement it all through August. Then you're going to see if you're going to implement it all through September. And then come October, November, December, you are going to be the top recommended baker in that group.
Yeah, when you'll know you arrived when the admin and mod team starts tagging you.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get the odd minimum on? We got to give them something. Absolutely not. You have to be a great member. So how to crack that magical great member code is what this boot camp's about. I know it sounds like the easiest and it's also the lowest attended one, but it's the highest payoff, which is always surprising to me. I
Listen,
think
I don't want my competition to take this boot camp because once you figure it out, I will have hell to
to
pay.
work.
You'll make me start fighting for it. So if you can get into this one and you can crack the code in the groups, it's going to be your number one lead source and it'll be the best $13 you've ever spent.
So day one, we're going to go through a slide deck, Corey and I. We're going to just tell you everything about the approach, why it's this way, how we do it, why we approach it this way. And then day two, it's going to be that 31-day challenge. We're going to walk you through there. And it's going to be walking you through a spreadsheet to track these community groups that we're going to focus on. It would be a lot of work, let me tell you. I wish the boot camps were like press a button and it happens for you. If they were, we'd all be pressing the buttons and nobody would need the boot camps.
Yeah.
But boot camps are the gameplay, the strategy that you implement, that you benefit from. So
Yeah.
it's funny, all these people took the recording cookie videos boot camp, and now they're seeing the results from it. And they're like, wow, it really does work. Me, myself included. Corey and I have a challenge, 2 videos this week per twin. I've been working on it. So I've been coming up with some content, and then we're talking about workflows, and we're talking about funneling and implementation, right? Just
Yeah.
getting content out there, but making the content a little bit more valuable each time. No analysis paralysis. Good is good enough. Working towards great.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
the boot camps, if you want to check out the boot camps, you can go to thecookiecollege.com/bootcamp. That's going to tell you what the boot camps are, how they work. And if you want to purchase a past boot camp, which is in-person cookie classes, or if you want to purchase the recording cookie videos, go to thecookiecollege.com/boot camps. So that would be plural. And then you can purchase either this upcoming boot camp, you can purchase all the past boot camps. So July, we're doing Kraken community groups. In August, I'm teaching you guys how to use Procreate for beginners to design a set of 6 cookies. And in September, Corey's taking us through optimizing Google Business Profile. Now, Google released recently its AI search engine optimization updates. Like, so Google never tells you what the secret sauce is, but it kind of gives you a hint. And one of those big hints is Google Business Profile.
Yeah, it's a great, I mean, that's where I get my corporate orders from. And I've built it into my business that I update it every Friday evening. So
Hmm.
there's about roughly 2,500 photos on my Google business profile.
Systematic approach over long periods of time is how you win long-term races.
Mm, mm.
Our past boot camps, we did in-person cookie classes in February. Again, you can purchase all of these. March, we did photography that sells. April, we did pre-sale start to finish. May, 3D printing cookie cutters. Love that one. July is community groups. And again, August is Procreate. September is Google Business Profile. And Corey and I are arguing over October.
Yep. Yes. Yes. We'll fight for you guys by fighting each other.
Corey, do you have anything for for the gossip column?
For the Goss call,
I have one if you guys want to. I didn't really see the research. I saw it in another public facing group, public baking groups, specifically public, like, I don't know, I think it was called Sweet Treat Makers or something where there's like 250 billion members.
yeah,
That cake pot drama from last week, and you had the underdog creator and the bullied creator. Apparently, the underdog creator years ago had posted something politically leaning or had
it
reshared
had
it or something.
reshared it. So it wasn't even of her own doing. She had reshared it and it was buried in a ton of these reposts. If you did not know, sometimes, and I've done it on accident, is clicked this little circular button and it's 2 arrows on Instagram and it just came up. It's one of their newer features. It's been around on TikTok for ages. You know, Instagram is honestly a copycat of TikTok and, you know, the favorite features on there. If you like
Uh-huh.
someone's content and you don't necessarily want to leave a comment or a like, what you can do is hit this repost button and it actually just shares that content out to your followers. You didn't make the content. You probably don't even know the person of the content you've done it. I've dropped my phone on accident and I have reshared some random people's content, but I go to the reshares just to make sure that what I've accidentally clicked isn't there. But anything that you've liked on social media that maybe you resonate with, like me and Heather like to make baking memes all the time. I see a lot of people reshare them that way. It lives on the resharing part of your profiles. TikTok has its own little tab for it, and now Instagram has its own tag for it. So you can always go and check what you've shared over the years. Some people repost exclusively. They do those reposts honestly more than they make their own content. And it's just stuff that they think funny, resonate with, like, want to come back to, who knows?
Anyways,
That's what
the
she did.
underdog baker had done that. And I back to it again. I would never, ever, 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 ever mix politics and my business. That's a part of the
Unfortunately.
Kraken community groups. In fact, it says what you share in your personal profile will be reflected in your community group engagement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, if you never track what you've reshared, it gets buried because that's from years ago. So she didn't know that this drama was going to fall into her lap 2 weeks ago. Who knows if what she reshared 2 years ago? I can't even tell you what I had for dinner last week. But the internet, just like we said, when you get them with drama, they are hungry for it. went and scrolled and found that on there, and she's been losing followers ever since. I don't think she'll lose 700,000 followers.
Yeah,
So
fascinating. She started with 20,000. By the time we'd done the podcast, she was at 70. Now she's at 750. But I'm not checking it. I'm done with the drama. I think the story's a little bit old. That said, in those really popular wide open baking groups where anonymous nicknames reign supreme, I
yeah.
did find one comment that made a ton of sense. And it said, I don't believe the audience that was created through the drama is the audience you will want to cultivate your business. And it's back to that. How you get them is how you keep them. How there and feed me, feed me. Like, don't feed the audience after midnight. They'll turn into
Yeah.
monsters. So again, that drama, that high engagement, like it was easy to look at the one creator and be like, oh, if I could only get involved in that drama, I could get 700,000 followers. But again, the whole thing that started is she couldn't have handled the drama the first time. That's why we all felt bad for her. And now the drama keeps coming. I'm not cut out for it, at least.
No, no, not at this ripe old age of nine,
Not enough
almost
Botox in the
38.
world. Not enough bartered Botox for me to be able to handle that kind of internet judge, jury, executioner.
I think there's people built for that. They're able
Yeah.
to separate themselves
Anybody on
from,
reality TV, I'm like,
oh
wow, the
yeah,
Kardashian family, impressive. I couldn't handle one of those comments.
could not. You say one thing to me and you're like a little peon on the internet and you
I'll
said it
delete
like,
everything I've ever done and
yeah.
go to and cry. You'll never see me again. Our upcoming collab is the Cookie That Hobby collab. This is our first collab where we're limiting engagement. We'll report back. On that, we have a 50% participation rate. Last time we had 63% participation rate. I'm hoping that the limiting this to 30 participants will change that engagement rate, the participation rate to closer to shooting for 85 would be cool.
I mean, with only 30 people participating, we should have 100% participation rate. It's on us though to remind the
I
folks.
remind him. I remind him a week out. I remind him a day out.
Yeah. Yeah, but Heather
Corey
does
is
go
trying to think
through.
about her hobbies to pipe.
Yeah, gosh, I'm a hobby person. I've had hobbies
You
all my
do.
life.
Corey did the rock painting thing. She plunks around on the piano. You go on a lot of
A lot
walks,
of walks, the gym, I
gym.
guess. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm in a hobby lull.
I like cars, and you kind of are getting into that.
Not really. I'll sit in yours.
Pipe it.
I'm a good sitter. Sitting is my favorite hobby.
You used to kind of be into cats, but now you don't have any because you killed them all.
I know. I do like shows. Maybe I can do,
You love Frasier. You've been big into Frasier
Frasier
recently.
has been top of the list for quite
You
some
could
years
do
now.
the grandpa's chair. You could do the
That's
dog.
difficult, but yes. Yeah, Marty
His
Crane.
chair's falling apart. Literally, his mistake would be a part. A piping mistake would add to the.
Except for I'm at the one where Frasier throws his chair off the balcony and gets it redone.
Can you do that fancy chair that Fraser has, which is that chair that's like a design? You know what I'm talking about. It has that name. Fancy.
The chase?
No, yeah, but his couch is also famous. It was from a remake from,
Coco Chanel.
yeah, but it's his chair. But the chair has a very specific name. It is called the I can see. Oh, Eames Lounge. It's a very famous chair, and he has one. And he wants to
I
fight
figured.
the Eames Lounge with the dad's chair. And then yeah, they have the couch. I don't know, it would just be something that you can't have too many chairs. But then what was the name of the dog? Not Freddie. Eddie?
Eddie.
Connie? Uh,
Freddie, Eddie Conning.
the Cookie That Hobby Club is July 24th. And then our next collab I'm still coming up with, it'll be the third Friday of August. Our events, the Midsummer Membership Sale, Corey and I have decided to give ourselves some more time to promote it. So we're putting it in the first week of August, which is only a week later than it was last year.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to focus on that, but we needed to get the cookie class kits out. Corey's getting another class kit up, and then I got to get this boot camp up, and then we got to teach class on Saturday.
Yeah.
The Vendy Blendies in 20 weeks, they've actually opened up the group to Pendy. So if you want a Pendy before you Blendy, and then we Spendy, you can join the group, Comprendi.
Have you seen that I've been posting some funny reels to the Vendy Bundy Facebook page?
I was wondering, it's like notification from the Vendy Blendi. I was like, man, people are desperate for this thing. I'll have to go check that out. National Cookie Day is in 2 days. That's July
It's
9th.
not Cookie
Sorry.
Day. It's
Let me tell you
Sugar
why.
Cookie
Because
Day.
that's such a long name. It's throwing off my grid.
You
My
should call it
Google.
SCD, Sugar Cookie Day.
National Sugar Cookie Day. So it's not even National Cookie Day, which is a different day. It's National Sugar Cookie. National National Cookie Day is National Cookie Day, not this one, is December 4th. National Sugar Cookie Day is
Yeah,
July 9th. Back to school, it feels weird to say only 7 weeks
I know.
relative
People
to your
are already
area, but
prepping.
to our
Yeah.
area. Is that long or short? 7 weeks is not 8 weeks, which makes 2 months. So it's less than 2 months, but it's
Yeah,
still
because we're
a lot
one
of
week
stuff.
in. I mean, a lot of people go at the end of August.
I have it set to August 24th for our area.
I gotta
Labor
look up my
Day, not a cookie
son.
holiday, but just the start of the cookie rush is September 7th. That's in 9 weeks. NFL, it actually starts on September 10th, which is 9 weeks away. If you're not a self-printer, it'd be time to order those cookie cutters. NFL,
Unfortunately, US lost out of the
oh,
FIFA World Cup last night.
were we in the final?
We got very, very far, but I
I
don't
think
think it
that's
was
really
the
great. Was this
final.
the first time I was ever in the US or something? Why it feels like I'm seeing more soccer than I've ever seen it in my life.
Yeah, so it was the first time it was ever hosted by the US. So a lot of people came over to support,
Oh,
their
very fun. I've
countries and things
enjoyed the
like that.
TikToks. I don't watch the sport. They came out with a Jellycat line of red card, yellow cards.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Canadian Thanksgiving is in 14 weeks, and then Halloween is in 17 weeks. So that's
Wow.
still a whiles away. But we're in the doldrums of the J months. But now is the time to kind of set the groundwork. Corey and I were talking about that yesterday in our Monday morning marketing meeting with the miracles. That hearing that what we said was what you do today will set the temperature for what happens in the Q4 Super Bowl for cookiers.
It's going to be stressful, but it can be super stressful if you don't set yourself up correctly now, or it can just be mildly stressful with a lot of last minute orders, but cash raining down on you like rain.
What you don't want to find is that in the rush of cookie season, your autoresponder still says you're out for vacation in July. Like that's typically when find those mistakes. But if you focus on them now, and what you're gonna call it is auditing the customer journey, which might be a decent barter for you. Have somebody go through the ordering process and say what they like and didn't like, and what was confusing and
I'll
which
give
was
you one
old.
singular cookie for that.
If you say anything mean, I'm taking your cookie bag. Our STL Me About It sponsors Cookie Design Lab. I think they've recently had a rebrand. I'm going to be making, since Corey and I are doing a video challenge, I'm going to be making how to design a cookie cutter using Cookie Design Lab for one of my videos.
It's so easy. That video will be two
Video is
seconds
2 seconds
because
long. Use code TWINS to get 15% off and check them out at cookiedesignlab.com. We have one texting question, so you're the automatic winner, 281. Email me at heather@sugarcookiemarketing.com and I'll send you pictures of being in lunch and how to redeem. Howdy from Texas. This isn't a marketing question or a cookie question, but it's also kind of not even a question. But Corey, I'm watching the reel about your order that took a year. That was transfixed. Transfixed, I tell you on your earring stacks. Can you tell me where you got your dangly earrings?
this dangle
Okay,
thing, I
Corey's
got
on an
to
ear journey. She's been on an ear journey for a couple of years
yeah,
now.
a couple years and years. I had to look it up. I want to say I got it off of Etsy, but let me see if I can't find where I got it from. But it's called a threader. And there's a lot of places that sell these threaders. You can get them long or short, and it's threaded through two different holes. So it's for
So you
my
get the
first and
dangly
third.
effect.
Yeah,
Let
the
us see your
dangly.
stack. YouTube wants to see the full. So
So
what
we
are the? I'm
got,
not really good with the piercing names. You think
I
I
don't know him either. These
double
are just
helix?
three on the lobe, and this guy. I actually had one up here.
You
The
know.
lady did wrong,
Oh
and
yeah.
I closed up. I had to take it out, close it up.
Here's my big thing. Well, based off of Corey's experience, is if you want to get these upper lobes, these cartilage piercing, you can go to these tattoo parlors. I know a lot in Northern Virginia. We have these new businesses where they're just piercing studios with nurse practitioners. However, I'm still going to advocate for the piercing tattoo parlor, the tattoo parlor that offers piercing because those people have been doing it for
Yeah.
so long.
The tattoo parlors are an out of body experience to go to. And
Uh,
listen, my entire back is a giant tattoo, but people look at me and they're like, that girl doesn't have any tattoos on her body. So they treat me a certain way. So I understand walking into a tattoo shop and someone feels like, hey, you clean cut girl, what are you doing
Well,
here?
maybe the one thing that tattoo parlors need to kind of figure out is how to book with the specific person. They're always like, find them on Instagram. Anyways, you can kind of
Yeah.
create the relationship on Instagram with a piercer if you
But
want
I
to.
don't, I let me not do that. Song and dance. I want to
You
walk in
literally
like a
told me
normal
you found
place.
some piercing tattoo parlor lady that I should go to.
No, she was really nice, but I didn't know who she was when I walked in. I said, who's working? Can I
Ah,
get an ear
just
piercing
got
done today?
lucky.
I got
Uh,
lucky. And then this side, I got whatever this circle guy is, Heather said people think that's neat to have.
Not
This tall one
real.
up here, he's got a backstory and a half. And these ones down here.
Oh, that's that here.
Yeah.
These piercings, I've never slept good a day in my life. I need to go back. When you get a piercing in a cartilage, it naturally causes swelling, right? So you need these
Yeah.
barbells that allow for the ear to swell and then heal again. And then you're supposed to go back and get shorter flat backs, which means there's no barbell in the back.
Yeah.
And they're shorter, so they're not like in and out of your ear. I just honestly feel real anxiety walking into tattoo
Yeah,
parlors.
the tattoo parlors, if they were just, there's, don't get me wrong, back when I got this giant tattoo on my back, tattoos weren't as popular as they are now. There's a lot of shops that are a little bit more like there's light coming in, they have plants in the
Is that
windows.
a biker bar out front?
Yeah, not a biker. Back in the day, I was like, please don't steal my money. Please.
So I don't know. You could go to those. What do they have? The one just opened at Tyson's where you can
They're
get
called
them.
Rowan. That's the one I went to. I would not
Yeah.
go back. And that's because she pierced it at an angle and it grew this, it's called a friction bump. And the
Yeah.
only way to get rid of it is to pull out the piercing and
And
let
lose
it
a piercing.
heal.
Yeah. And then you could be left with like a keloid scar,
Yeah.
which
So
is
I
even
said, wow,
worse.
that was not good for how much money that was. The place, though, super inviting. Like you
I mean, I'm
walk
so sorry.
in.
It was like walking into a candy store. It was the most bright. Whatever that business model is, bright and
Yeah.
inviting. People get their ears pierced. Yes, it's like the Claire's, and then but they have a nurse practitioner. The thing is, the piercing guns that they use at Claire's actually destroy the cartilage instead of pushing the cartilage away. I don't know if this is a load of crap
Well,
I was sold.
Rowan, though, offers both. You can ask for the gun or the knife, whatever they do, the little
Poink.
hole puncher.
So I don't know. I guess if you're interested in getting your ear journey going, what I would do is do it. They said the ear. I'm sorry. I found a subreddit. This is where all these facts are coming from for piercing. They said at any given time, the body can only really focus on healing through piercing. So it might be tempting to get your whole ear done, but you're asking a lot of the white blood cells. So they
I
said like three at
most
a
good
time.
piercers won't let you do a ton at once because they know that the rejection is higher when you're like, I want to get a whole stack done because if I can't sleep for now, let me not sleep all together at once.
Then there's piercings. They have to be in an anatomically correct or your body will reject them. So a lot of this, the
Yeah.
daith piercing seems to get people in trouble because it's not pierced the correct area. And so the body's either rejecting it or going berserk.
Maybe we need to work on your ear stack. You don't get comments on it. You get like how many holes you have in your ear, but they're not necessarily like pretty. You could have such pretty earring.
Really so ugly.
You
You
ugly
know,
earring holder.
it's
You
just
have
really
pin
affects.
cushion.
I try not to even make direct eye contact with these piercings for fear I won't be able to sleep. I need to
No,
go back and get it all redone.
this when I had that cancer treatment surgery last year, you could not go in with anything metal. So to take those out and replace them with plastic, because that was the only thing to keep it open. That was the worst idea ever. It made
Uh-huh.
me not want to even have them anymore
And
because
that's what I
that's
fear. That's what I fear is once I
crazy.
tasted the sweet nectar of sleep, I'll be like, close my. I
Because
went to
even to replace this guy, it's swelled up again.
I
Just to
know,
replace his
right,
thing.
right. I went to some plastic surgeon, and I was like, fix my face or something, and he was like, do you want me to fix your ear? I said, I'm not here for that. And he's like, my job is he's like, not if, when you're tired of this crap on your ear, I will fix it. He's like, but just so you know, this is what I do mostly. And then he calls in the nurse and he's like, look at her ears. Her ears look like she'd just been born. And he was like, her ears look like yours until I got to him.
But so, like, if you took all the little Heather had, if you're not on YouTube, I'm staring at her ear right now, large and in charge and on the side of red. She just has these little circle piercings throughout. If you took those out, I honestly don't think I would notice a hole in your ear.
Her
They sound like you're
ear,
growing. What is it when the gauges? It's not like your ears is gauge.
no, but it wouldn't close. That's the goal is that you get them to they'd never close again. So you can always put new jewelry in. But he was like, you will not want that. And I can fix it.
I
He
wonder
was,
if you'll care about your ears in 20 years.
I hardly care about them now. So I was like, brother, listen, fix the face. I'm not really here for the year. I just don't care. I don't care about my ear. Our sponsors, without these sponsors, there's no podcast. Our sponsor is Cookie Design Lab. Use code TWINS to get 15% off. Bakety Bake. Use code TWINS to get 10% off. We'll have to try to bully her into the Vendy Blendy, as we do. Daisy Makes code TWINS10 gets you 10% off. Daisy Makes is those cake pop. I was trying to explain it to the whole family. One, I said, "Do you guys know what cake pops are?" And they're like, "The cake pop drama." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, anyways, here's the system and why it's different than the balls. The system is the different." So Daisy Makes went to Cookie Con, and the tagline was cake pops for cookie people because it's a better approach.
It's so similar to what a
Cookies.
sugar
Yeah.
cookie baker would use.
I like the invention there. And then Primera, Eddie, the edible food printer. I got to reach out to them to do a podcast this month if they can. They requested to. Eddie, Freddie, and now Connie, which I saw a couple people place the pre-orders for Connie, which is a, what was it?
It's a cake printer, but it's printers for cake people and the wafer sheets and the edible printer paper is a wild wild world because it's like a necessary evil. People want the little images on top, but then your printer decides to not work mid print, and this is supposed to be way better. I've not had my hands on one to be able to talk about it, but people seem pretty excited about
I
it.
don't think they've sold them yet. I think they're under pre-order. But we'll try to get Jennifer from Primera on here and then tell us more about it. I would also just like to know her history in
I
general,
would love
the
to know
company.
her history.
I
Yeah.
did look her up on LinkedIn. I think she's worked for them for 24, 25 years, which is a
Wow.
tremendous amount of time to spend with a single company these days.
Yeah.
Bosch Nutrimel, the code is sugar cookies to get $20 off. Now I know you did a video
I did a
about your
video and I'm
Bosch.
gonna actually divide the video into two. I show you how I make a triple batch, but what I've learned
I
from
thought
the
you were a
comment
quad batch
section,
girly.
I because I have two, I have the Artiste and the Bosch Universal. I do six at a time, but three in each.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
going too easy on the Universal because people said you could fit either one or two more
Two? So you'd be
batches
a
in there.
what's a quintuple?
A fifth
Quad.
couple. I think a quadruple is probably where it caps out at for me, just with how much dough is in there. Life changing. If you're like, I need to become more efficient in my business, you can't create one batch of dough at a time because that's not efficient. That's taking you way too much time. But when you can stock up on dough, and I got an upright freezer from Walmart to really make these two things work together for me, I just have dough ready to go.
The dough
So I
that's
don't
ready to
have to tell my
go.
customers no.
Get the dough that's ready to go in time for the ho ho ho. Like a Christmas is coming. That upright freezer, they're not the most expensive. It's not chump change either. It was like 200, 300.
I
But
want to say it was 250. Mine does not have a light in it. It's in the storage area of my basement.
no,
So I do
it's
have
just
to
full of dough.
go
Just grab two.
down with a flashlight, feel around. Game changer though. I have dough days is what I call them, and I hate them because there's not a cute picture after it. But when I stock that freezer up, I feel just so accomplished because I know I am ready
It's
to
like
go.
meal prepping for a cookie business.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Very nice. My Twinterest is this YouTube I'm going to show you. It's this
Hold it by your
spec.
face.
I don't have a Nido. I don't know. I don't have kids, so I don't know what Nidos are. From what I can see, they're just little squishy squares. I don't get why some
You
are rare.
have more toys than a child does. So I don't like that you're acting like you
You're
don't
an
know the world of
adult.
toys. You're buying them all the
I
time.
buy them for my sons, Munch and Bean.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ash bought this one from Specs and it said it's Nido, but it's better. I don't know. I don't know the world of Nido. I really didn't like these squishy things because I feel like they get like clammy. But
And
this guy
Harry.
is fun because he kind of relax. He kind of has like some flex to him. Anyways, it's this little Specs heart. That's my Twinterest this week.
I don't know if I would like that. Bring it on Saturday. Let me touch on it.
I will if you get it dirty.
I
You,
might drop it. I've
you
been
can
known to
wash
drop a
it,
few things.
and the literal instructions were like, if you wash it, it'll get tacky. So just put some cornstarch on it. And I was like, "Right, this is how you get your Eddie cookies not to stick to the cellophane. This is how it
That's
works."
true. That is
They
very
said, do
true.
not put flour on it. It will create a paste.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Yeah.
That's
I'll be
disgusting.
washing it again.
My twin dress is not really a twin dress. My neighbor moved about a month ago, and instead of renting it out to someone new, they're actually selling the place, and it has been so insanely stressful. I do not understand why my little townhouse has the spots. Every townhouse I've ever lived in, the spots have been two in front of it,
In Corey's
not in this
configuration of
one.
these townhomes, to maximize the buildings, they've extended them beyond the sidewalk and the pavement, meaning everyone's spot is shifted two away from where they're supposed to be because they've had these houses go into the crevasse to maximize profit, I guess.
Yeah, so the last guy who I can't even see his house when I walk, it's behind my house, needs a spot somewhere nearish his home. So he has one spot. Because he has one spot, it's scooched everyone
He
else's
only has
spots
one
down.
spot,
He has two, but one's super far away and one's relatively far away.
but yours are not. He's gotten separated because his location.
Yeah. Yeah, it must have been a cheaper house just for the fact that you're not close to your
Yeah.
spot and you have one across the street from it.
Wow.
Mine, I have two together, but they are off-centered. So my two spots actually are in front of the house that's for sale.
Which would make you feel that if no cars there, that's where you park to go toward the home. So Corey's having this massive battle and has gotten signage.
I said, wow, am I that neighbor? What was funny is my other neighbor has actually lived in this community for over 18 years. So she is the head bastion of the neighborhood, what she says actually goes. So when I first moved in, I could tell she was judging me. Now we talk all the time. So when I went out, she's like, saw your two signs. I said, is it too much? She said, no, I wish I had one. I said, you'll never guess I got three. So she's the one in
Hilarious.
my spot.
On Netflix, I've been watching these two series. Mom says they've just been adapted. She's seen them somewhere else, but it's called The Worst Roommate Ever. And then there's another series called Worst Neighbor Ever. There's only 5 episodes in each. But The Worst Neighbor Ever shows you the anxiety. I mean, the concept of neighborhoods is wild.
It's
Like, my
wild.
grandmother has lived next to a lady named Joanne for 40 years. Like, for 40 years, you're with this stranger that neither of you picked. They just
And you
happened to
don't know each
meet.
other. What's even more bizarre than that, at least there's land in between a townhouse and an apartment.
I
You're
know.
sharing
Apartments are
walls with
wild, but apartments
people.
are typically leased. Now, buying a condo, paying to be
Yeah.
glued to other boxes. I've lived in apartments most of my life, and it's a wild world. And I always would try to schmooze my new neighbors. I'd leave them a little gift, say if there's a problem, just send me a text. But you just know, my crazy story is I had this neighbor in an apartment was there, next door neighbor, really quiet guy, older man. Kind of, you can kind of tell that they were retiring, but didn't want to spend the price of those retirement communities. Great
Yeah.
idea to move into an apartment. So he was there, and then he gets a traumatic brain injury. I think he had brain cancer, so they had a tumor. And the reason why they found out is he was acting strange. He ends up leaving his wife of the 30 or 40 years. He has adult
Wow.
kids. He moves in this woman my age. And at this time, I'm in my 20s. So she and him were like walking around holding hands. I was like, that's so crazy. I thought it was his daughter. Good thing we weren't close, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, look, holding hands with your daughter at that age, weird. Do you, if you like to hold hands with your grandpap? But no, it was his girlfriend. He ends up not wanting to be with her anymore and locks her out, right? So this is the digital keys because it was a new apartment.
Yeah.
She starts knocking on my door to get intel about him. But she started knocking all the time, just pounding. It was like she was something was a little amiss. But
Yeah.
finally, like she was putting on his door, welcome back from the hospital. He did get the brain tumor removed. And I was like, I'm like, they're not together. And she's decorating his door. But when I come out, because I'm addicted to drive, I'm looking through this keyhole of my own apartment to get any scoop I can on these people, right?
Yeah.
He took off all the stuff and didn't let her in. So
Do
she started
you,
knocking on my door again, and I had to say, sweetheart, honey, baby girl, because I don't want her to be weird to me. I was like, we can't knock on my door anymore. And she's like, oh, okay, okay. And I was like, right, we're not going to knock on my door, but if you can't find him, because she had to break into the building, first of all, so she was following
yeah.
people in.
Yeah.
On the final day, I'm moving out. And I've got Corey and Nate lifting up my
I
pet snakes into
remember.
this. She's coming up to the U-Haul, walking into the
Yeah.
U-Haul. Sarcasm is not even here. She is walking and asking for intel on this man again.
For some odd reason with my neighbors, no matter where I've lived, they've all asked me to come and do something in their house and mostly watch pets, water thing. Whenever my face is, it must be like, invite that girl into your home. Like I've
Corey's
never
face is
invited
okay, I'll
someone else.
go.
I've never invited someone else into mine to do anything like I'll feed my dog, I'll water my own pets, but they look at me and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring this lady
You
in.
have a
We're gonna
trusting
have
face, man. You have a trusting face. One apartment I lived in, this lady had left everybody on our hallway cookies, and I thought that was so nice, right? And then she wrote like a thing, and I think she was from some religious thing. I think it might have been Mormon, and she was like, a really nice thing. So I had I didn't know she was religious. Anyways, we bought her a bottle of wine. I'm not a wine drinker. I just went to the Wakes and I left it at her door and I was like, thank you so much for the cookies. I never heard back from her. Probably a week later, the bag, I know I put it in a bag.
Yeah.
The trampled bag is back on my doorstep with the wine bottle on it, but also a note.
And said, what? I don't
Her
drink wine.
husband had passed away, and the fire department, he had passed away of a sudden heart attack. The fire department stepped all over it, but also she didn't
Oh
drink wine
my
and she was moving away. So
goodness.
she moved in between that and I got that. I think there's a last stop on her move out was this note that was devastating. So a couple weeks later, there's like when like really sensitive packages, they have to deliver them to your door, which is hard in a
Yeah.
complex that has so much security or
Yeah.
whatever. I see this guy and he's holding this box and he's trying to knock on the door and he's like, I have to get a signature delivery. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I hate to tell you this. He actually passed away and she moved out a couple weeks ago. And he's like, these are Florida oranges. They won't last. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, do you want them? They were the best oranges I have
You
ever
took her
had.
Florida
I did.
oranges
I did. And I
then?
thought of him the whole time. And I said, that's such a sad story. But oranges are great.
I love going into someone's house to see how
I,
they live.
well, okay,
I
that's why, Corey. That's why they're inviting you in.
no, I don't ever say I want to go into your house. But if I'm in there, note I'm watering your cat and your plant, and I'm looking around.
Corey's getting a big old scoop of eyeball. It's just interesting. I had Corey come to my apartment. I was like, what are my blind spots? It's so easy to have a blind spot where you live.
Oh, where you live, a
Because I'm
thousand
like, this is
percent.
normal. And Corey be like, that's weird. And I was like, oh, I guess, you know what? It is weird. I just thought it was normal when I was by myself.
I think if you came into mine, you'd be like, "This is weird that you're doing this." I know I do weird things.
But it's
I
functional
know
for
I do.
you as
Oh
long as
yeah,
you sees it.
yeah,
So when you have
yeah.
somebody come in, like when I'm at people's house, I'm like, what in the heck? One
Oh
time
yeah,
went
when
to a
it,
man's
when
house. His wife had recently left him. Oh, sorry, his wife had left him 2 years ago. But he stayed in the house and I think she moved away. He had no furniture in the house. And I thought that was so weird, but now look at me, I have no furniture in the house. I'm like, well,
see
shouldn't have
you're
judged
yo
now.
yeah, you're so weird because you have
Last
no
houses we live in, don't we?
and there is no seating whatsoever. I don't know why she
I
refuses
said, I said,
to
how many
share.
seats do I need in this thing? It's just me and two cats. And the cats are just rambunctious.
Well, that's the problem when you have pets. It's not like you can converse with a cat and say, "Please don't use your nails on this." They're gonna use their nails on anything.
Let me tell you, exclusively, this nice bed frame I bought has just been the scratching pad of the century. It's
Yeah,
technology scratch pad land.
yeah,
It's almost that
yeah.
thinking, IKEA, like, please don't get on that. Oh, I should get on this.
I I think it's so entertaining. There's this one lady who lives next to us. Her name's Kim. I've known. I said Nate. If her name isn't Kim, I've called her Kim for 4 straight years because I'll be like, "Hey Kim." She always says hi, so I just assume it is. I am so curious about how she always has her windows and doors shut, but she doesn't have any pets, no kids, isn't dating anyone from what we can tell. I said I would love to walk into her house, just see how she lives, and be like, "Okay, I'll never interrupt your life again. I'm fulfilled with my curiosity. Have a great life. See you on the road."
Dan's next door neighbors who I lived with next to for quite a few years, okay, the weird thing is where my grandmother lives is next door to where we grew up. My parents and my grandparents lived in adjacent houses. They weren't adjoined, but they were very
Yes.
close.
You could throw one stone and
You could trip and hit your head on
yeah,
the.
their
So
house.
my dad had planted this tree. I don't know. He had a bout of landscaping fever, I guess, when we were probably 12. And we called it the miracle tree. It was a terrible tree and it died.
Yeah.
So, but it had such a thick trunk, and I'm sure you know that. But the trunk was so thick, it stayed its whole life. The new neighbors of Ruthan's cut down the tree. Okay, which it needed to. It was just a hollowed trunk. The miracle
Yeah, I
tree,
was dead.
they gave Ruth Ann part of the trunk because they were like, it's a miracle tree. Here's a piece of it.
That's so
So
funny.
funny. And then I go the other day and I look and I say, what's going on with that corner? And she's like, they're growing their own wine grapes.
Wine
Yeah.
grapes?
And they were vining. And then so we were there for the 4th of July and I was like, do you want me to go press some wine for you?
What did they
Wood
get?
grapes.
How many grapes takes to like, do you need
Corey,
5
Corey,
bushels of
I'll tell
grapes?
you the wine vine was at my ankle. It's not going to beat out the winter. It's just not going to beat out the winter. It's been growing for 2 months and it was at my ankle, but it was growing.
Here's my last thing about the neighbor that just left had grown a fig tree. Listen, they
Corey
never
and
grew
this fig tree,
grass.
Corey and this fig tree lore go way
Ate the
back.
fig tree. They never grew an ounce of grass, but their green thumb for this fig tree need be studied.
I think
This
fig
thing,
trees want to live.
oh, he lived and prospered. The problem with this fig tree is they're ginormous and they floof off. Their leaves will literally detach at the sign of the first frost. Jack Frost walks by,
Oh yeah,
the
you see a fig
this
tree massive, then you see fig tree post one cold night, and it's this carcass.
yeah, so they grew it. Okay, they've left. They were leaving, they were like, "We are not taking this fig tree with us," which I assumed because it was in the ground. She's like, "Feel free to either take the fig tree and put it in your own yard or
Okay,
cut
would
it
that be a
down."
tremendous venture?
Yeah, I have no
Fig
idea.
trees
I know
aren't
its root
tiny.
system was crazy.
Oh.
And I didn't want a fig tree because I don't like fig Newtons. So I can only assume I don't like a fig.
Mm.
As soon as the U-Haul door shut on their truck, I said, Nate, cut it out.
So
Timber!
did you get rid of the root system? Could it grow?
Well, yeah, he actually got as much as he could so he couldn't regrow. But when I ran into her last night at the grocery store, the lady who used to live there, she like saw they cut my fig tree down. I said, saw it
You
too,
know,
girl,
you have
saw
every
it
right to.
too.
If she gave you the option to keep it, she also covertly gave you the option to kill it.
Yeah, she was just like, I saw that, and I didn't have the heart to be like, we cut it down. I started looking at it and cleaning up after
Anything
it.
that produces fruit. One of my next door neighbors, they said they were so excited to tell me they'll be planting
You
lemon
are,
tree.
they have quite the contraptions going on at
A lot of
back at your.
contraption. And I have to say to myself, you know what? I didn't pay for their yard. It's theirs. They can do what they want. I kind of it's
That's
like watching them. They're
yeah.
doing some interesting planting. There's a lot of sticks from a tree. Like they're not even sticks from like,
And they have like overhangs like for shading.
did I tell you I asked them, I said, what is the white things for? The white
Yeah.
boards. And no, they trimmed the community, had a landscaping company cut all the weeds down, but the suction of the commercial mower was so strong that it sucked in their tomato plants and cut them. So the white board was to prevent the suction. And he was like, but I'll take the white boards down. I was like, okay, it's your yard, dude. Do what you want.
Because
Just
he
keep some
thought you were
plants.
complaining about his
I don't
white
know. I was just
board.
like, I said, I can't figure out what the white boards are for because I just watched them set them
The
up.
one thing about Heather's house, it's on Mount Olympus as far as the wind tunnel goes. Ain't nothing surviving that swoof off of the road there. Their little whiteboards would be in your yard at some point.
And how they weren't, they've already taken them down. Well, one is a fallen, but they've taken them down. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious. But anyways, they're planting an avocado tree, a lemon tree, and a peach tree. And they're like, we'll give you some. But I'm like, I think
But
that'll
that'll
take
be
10
in
years.
5 years from now.
Right. Long con. And I said, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to receive.
Can I give one closure to my, I made those cookies for the dog that passed.
Oh,
And
yeah, please do.
I come outside and it was almost like this is the man can't talk about the dog, but I come outside, he has a bag in his hand and he says, "Have you ever heard of the peach truck?"
Yeah,
I said,
I'm sorry.
"Yes!"
He's coming. The peach truck is coming.
No, his peach truck guy already came and he gave me 6 peaches. And
Corey,
I said
listen, it
that
was coming to Burke, and I didn't
was,
place an order.
it was,
Were they good? I
they
don't
were,
know how to describe it to you. Virginia and peaches just don't get along. So there's this Georgia peach truck, I think, and it
yeah.
tours Northern Virginia, and you place your pre-order for bushels, and it comes and you pick them up like it's like this roving peach tree. Essentially.
Yeah. So he gave me 6 of those. And I said, Nate, that is the thank you one that I
That's
wanted.
that. That's the
quiet
forgiveness.
head nod.
You know,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, bartering because Corey gave him cookies, but it's not gonna die. Now I got
I
peaches.
know, and I had peaches.
A good peach. A good peach will change.
A good
peach. It's no dead man's orange, but it'll do.
It is no dead man's orange. You stealer.
I know. I think about it all the time. The best oranges ever. I even think about like, where did I find this orange? Okay, Corey. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye, you battering babes. Goodbye.